If you've been dialed in for any length of time, you know that we don't really listen to big college football media. And I don't say that in like a derogatory, condescending way. I just mean there's some outlets out there that believe that it is the playoff and that is all that matters. End all, be all. If your team's not playing for the playoff, you might as well pack it in. Some people say maybe if you were, I don't know, not going to be in the playoff, not going to win the Heisman Trophy, maybe you should just not play at all. Some people have said that. We haven't said that. Some people have said that. And somebody asked Drake Stoops, an Oklahoma wide receiver, who's a sixth-year senior, by the way. You cut him open, he bleeds crimson. They asked him, well, is there still games? Is there still something to play for this season? And Drake Stoops, I mean, God bless him, man. Getting a question like that, he's like, yeah, of course. And just kind of looked at him a little bit funny like, dude, what are you talking about? And the guy asked him the question too. He wasn't coming after him, but he was sort of insinuating like, hey, there's this thought now among some people in college football that if you don't make the playoff, you don't have things to play for. Because Oklahoma, very clearly, they were in that college football playoff race. Heck, we thought they were going to be on a crash course to the Big 12 title game after they beat Texas. They still could make the Big 12 title. We'll talk about that here in a second. But Drake Stoops just started dropping bars. He said, listen, that's understandable because fans are passionate. Fans are fans. They're going to react, obviously, when things don't go our way. But like at the end of the day here, I show up every single day. I put in 10-hour days for 6 years now. So yeah, I got something to play for. I love my coaches. I love my teammates. Love the University of Oklahoma. Like, yeah, I got stuff to play for as long as we got games. Mic drop. I love that response. It went viral for a reason. If you haven't seen that clip, go check it out after the show. Just absolutely phenomenal. But I want us to kind of unpack this a little bit more as to why this is even a conversation that Drake Stoops has to have. Because there's a media narrative, like I said, there's a media narrative being pushed right now that if you don't make the playoff, you have nothing to play for. Which doesn't make any sense because the way that it used to be was we didn't even have a 4-team playoff. We had 2 teams that made the BCS. So we actually had less teams playing for a national title at certain points in the year, and we loved BCS Bowls. Like making the Sugar Bowl was phenomenal. Nobody's sitting out the Sugar Bowl. Making the Sugar Bowl, winning the conference, those were all things that were worth playing for every single week. And so what changed was we've been told now, playoff this, playoff that, who's in, top 4, and that's all that we're being told via some certain media outlets. And again, I'm not throwing shade. This is just kind of the world that we're living in right now. And so with that being said, it used to just be, just enjoy college football, take it a week at a time, squeeze the life out of Saturdays. And when we get more games, if it's a bowl game, heck, you got another game to watch your team, support your team. If you're a player, you got another game to enjoy that with your coaches and teammates. But then when this media narrative started to grow of playoff this, playoff that, playoff this, then we kind of started to recalibrate and say, well, yeah, I guess if it is all about the playoff, which is all we hear 24/7, then I guess everything else is just not important. And then that kind of went from the media, and it started to seep in at different points to the different interpoints or intersection rather between college football media and college football people, meaning players. And what I think Drake Stoops is saying here is very much so a statement that he has not been contaminated with that train of thought. And to be clear, Oklahoma still has a lot to play for. Oklahoma still is in the Big 12 title hunt. If they go 10-2 in Brent Venables' second season, after going 6-7 last year, that is absolutely enormous. Think about if you're Drake Stoops being a part of the 6-7 year and then leaving, helping boost your team to 10-2, leaving it better, not than when you found it, but better than when you were there with Brent Venables in his second year. Like, that means something to these guys. And so the issue that I have with this, outside of the whole playoff is the only thing that matters conversation, the thing that I have an issue with is similar to what we talked about with the Caleb Williams shouldn't play anymore during the season because the Heisman Trophy is not going to be his and they're not making the college football playoff. We somehow arrive at this thought that the college football media has the same priorities that these players and coaches do. They very clearly do not. Those things do not align. We can't assume that Drake Stoops' only priority is to win the college football playoff, and that's the end-all be-all. And if you don't have that, well, then it's not worth even playing the rest of the season. Drake Stoops is saying, no, of course those were preseason goals you would have to imagine for that team. But he's saying, no, actually, I love this place. I love these people. I love my coaches. I love being able to play football. That's what it's about to me. And I think that's what it used to be about for a lot of us previously, but Drake Stoops is saying that's how it still is here. And so hat tip to all of us here that are still college football fans in that vein. I think the majority is a lot more than the minority. But I also would say, like, the thought that you can somehow just mail it in college football is just so far off base. Like, the assumption there's nothing left to play for implies that, okay, well, then you should just kind of mail in the rest of the season. No disrespect to any other sport, but this is not like baseball or like basketball or like any other sport that isn't contact, where you can walk out there and not give your best effort and, you just kind of say, oh, well, it is what it is. Walk off the floor, no problem. If you mail it in playing football, playing college football, where you have grown men running around like that, you get your teeth kicked in. People get hurt. And not just you. It's not a thing where, okay, well, I didn't bring my A game. I kind of mailed it in, so that's bad on me. No, if you don't do your job, there is 10 other individuals on that side of the football, offense or defense, that are having to suffer because of it. If I mail it in, my dude gets his teeth knocked in. If I mail it in, because I'm not holding my block as the left tackle, I get our quarterback killed. Like, it's not a thing where you can mail it in, not just for yourself, but for your teammates. And the consequences are much more intense, I think, than they are if you're playing basketball and, hey, I mailed it in. I had some turnovers. We lost by 20 and got embarrassed. Yeah, that hurts too. But that's not how it is in college football. Drake Stoops is nowhere near mailing it in. I don't think a Brent Venables team is anywhere near mailing it in. They got a ton to play for still. And I love this went viral because it gives me a ton of faith in where we are as a college football fan base. I love where we are as a college football public. This went viral. It gives me faith in where we are. And I'm excited to see how Oklahoma finishes, because I believe without a shadow of a doubt that this is a team that still is engaged, that is still very much so looking to finish some business and accomplish some things. And to be very real, they still have a lot of things in front of them. So Drake Stoops saying, we got nothing to play for, really? And then just dropping bars. I love that. Program guy through and through. Never had a question, never had a doubt. And was just glad to see that get knocked out of the park the way that it did. We got some prize picks for you of our own that we're making plays on this upcoming weekend. If you have not yet signed up for prize picks, would encourage you to do so. Daily fantasy, absolute blast to play, enhances your viewing experience, and just a great way to honestly make some money with the prize picks, people giving back to us in that sense with the giveaway, and then also just having an absolute blast on Saturdays using prize picks. So redeem code JD, 100% deposit match up to $100 when you sign up. Crucial you do that. Very, very crucial you do that. Appreciate y'all being dialed in. That's a great way for y'all also to support the show by signing up with our redemption code there. All right, so our play for this upcoming weekend is as follows. Colston Loveland, we're going to talk about him a little bit later in the show. He's a tight end from Michigan. Penn State, play a lot of man coverage. Colston Loveland's a big body, 6'5", 245 pounds. You don't want to be man coverage against that now, especially a dude with that catch radius. Prize Picks has his number at 32.5 receiving yards. We're taking the more. We're laughing all the way to the bank. Michael Penix, his total touchdown number against Utah is at 2.5. So this could be passing, receiving, rushing touchdowns, 2.5. We think the more hits there. We saw what Bo Nix did to that Utah defense. Gives us a little bit of cause for concern for that operation, but we think Michael Penix hits the more there. Now, Daijun Edwards, his number for rush yards is 88.5. They play Ole Miss this weekend. I think Ole Miss is going to be really aggressive to blitz. Now, whenever you blitz, what happens? You leave yourself susceptible for some real estate if you swing and miss right underneath you. So expect Daijun Edwards to run for more than 88.5 yards, like the more there to hit. And we're going to go ahead and flex play this. So if you want to power play it, be our guest. If you get all three correct, you 5x your entry. But we like to flex play it, meaning if we hit 2 out of 3, we 1.25x our money. And if we get all 3, 2.25x. So if we don't hit on all 3, which I think we will, so take that as you will, we still end up making some, and the good times roll. So again, redeem code JD, 100% deposit match up to $100. Cannot stress this enough. Let me know y'all's plays. Let me know y'all's big wins, because I want to talk about those on the show. The interaction here is what makes this a blast. So we appreciate y'all in advance for that. Hey y'all, thanks so much for watching. Subscribe to the channel here to make sure you don't miss an episode of The Hard Count. Also be sure to check out other videos on the On3 YouTube channel.